On to discussion.
Yes.
Oh, let me say one more thing. First Amendment Radio did put a chat room in. So if you go to First Amendment Radio .net or firstamendmentradio.com, they have a chat room. Just look for the chat and join in on the chat. Anyway, go ahead, Jeff. I've been talking long enough.
We are attempting to establish within tonight and in a subsequent show next week, possibly even to a third show. We are establishing why it's a crime pursuant to constitutional law and international law, why it's a crime to be what we call a United States citizen, what the law says a United States citizen is. We're going to prove to you in law, without any conjecture, that being a U.S. citizen is a crime, that you're in fact engaged in criminal activity against your lawful state body politic, which has been usurped through this unlawful citizenship imposed via the 14th Amendment. So tonight we're showing that the constitutionally repugnant Reconstruction Acts, these acts of the 39th Congress were constitutionally repugnant, and these acts imposed the 14th Amendment. Did not ratify it, it imposed it unlawfully, pursuant to martial law powers that were also constitutionally unauthorized. There are constitutionally authorized martial law powers, however, but the Reconstruction Acts met none of that criteria. So I'm going to lay out a timeline. This might seem rather dry. This might even seem like a history lesson, but hopefully you'll be blessed by this information and get a pen and pad out, or if you want, I will email you my notes, and that's a good idea. That way we'll know if you're actually paying attention or not and actually listening to the show, or actually interested in this material by emailing me for these notes. It's all it is a timeline. It's nothing fancy, but you can do your own research. You can email me, Jeff. Here's my email, FloridaRepublic@gmail.com. That's FloridaRepublic@gmail.com. Email me for the notes. Anyway, we're going to start in 1861, and the object of the Civil War, which was from 1861 to 1865, that the actual intention of it was not for the southern states to be conquered or subjugated. And this is evidenced in, I'm referring to a House Journal. Now, you can go on the Library of Congress website, and you can research everything I'm saying. It's right there. That you can research the House Journals, and I'm also be making references to the statutes at large, and there's certain years that those are available, and you can research the statutes at large at the Library of Congress website. Okay, so what I said in 1861, we have a statement by Vice President Andrew Johnson and a Congressman Crittenden that stated, for the record, in the House Journal and in the Senate Journal, is recorded that the intention of the Civil War was not to conquer or subjugate the southern states. You're going to see why why I'm starting at this point. It's very important. I'm going to quote this House Journal, July 22nd, 1861, page 123. Senate Journal, July 25th, 1861, page 92. Mr. Crittenden submitted the following resolution, that this war is not waged on their part, that's the northern states. This war is not waged on their part in any spirit of oppression, or for any purpose of conquest or subjugation, or purpose of overthrowing or interfering with the rights of established institutions of those states. He's referring to the southern states. Now here's what he's saying the intention is, but to defend and maintain the supremacy of the Constitution and to preserve the Union with all dignity, etc., etc. Anyway, He's saying to preserve the Union with all dignity, equality, and rights of the several states unimpaired, and that as soon as these objects are accomplished, the war ought to cease. So there's your intention right now. That's the Crittenden-Johnson resolution. Okay, moving on to 1865. We're going to fast forward. The war is over with. But January 31st of 1865, the war was still going on, and the 13th Amendment was proposed to all of the states that existed at the time. May 10th of 1865, President Johnson proclaims the end of the hostilities on land. So, now January 31st, that's in 13th volume, Statutes at Large, page 757, and when President Johnson proclaimed an end to the hostilities on land, and the only duty left was to arrest the vessels at sea of the southern states, and that was on May 10th, and that's in Senate Journal starting at page 7 of May 10th. So I'm going somewhere with this. Now, the states which ratified the 13th Amendment, we have southern states, okay? I'm just going to say the southern states: Virginia, Louisiana, Tennessee, Arkansas, South Carolina, Alabama, North Carolina. Now, that was in February of 1865. That's a month. I mean, whoa, that's like a week, almost a little over a week after the 13th Amendment was proposed to the states. They ratified it. These southern states did. Now, on December 4th of 1865, so this is almost at the end of the year now, that's a new Congress sitting. So the Congress, the reps in Congress that ratified the 13th Amendment was in 1865. That's the 38th Congress. But now a new Congress comes in, the 39th Congress. The first session, December 4th, 1865, they suggested denial of the seats in the House and Senate of the southern states on the basis that they had no legal governments and were in rebellion. So this is where we're starting to get the plot here. Okay, if the 39th Congress is claiming that these states were illegal governments, then if they were illegal, how come the Congress sent the 13th Amendment to those southern states? And then when those southern states ratified the 13th Amendment, how come they recognized their ratification? See, if they were unlawful states, they would have not recognized their ratification of the 13th Amendment. That's the Anti-Slavery Amendment, so-called. They would have recognized that as legitimate if their governments were legitimate. So think about that. So the 39th Congress is just making this baseless allegation saying that they're going to deny seats in Congress to the southern states, that they had no legal governments and were in rebellion. But see, that's December 4th, 1865, but May 10th of 1865, President Johnson proclaims the end of the war. Are you starting to see the logic, people? There's something weird. So, and then not but 2 days after this 39th Congress says that they're illegal and in rebellion still, Georgia ratifies the 13th Amendment. And then December 18th, later on that month, 13th Amendment was declared ratified. December 28th, Florida ratifies the 13th Amendment. So if these southern states are ratifying an anti-slavery amendment, how are they illegal? How do they have these illegal, unlawful governments? Or how are they in rebellion?